Hello, and welcome to the most magical podcast where we give you tips and advice to help you visit the Disney parks like a pro, helping you to maximize the magic by mastering the planning. This week, I have a super special guest. She is someone that I have been following on social media for ages. She is the queen of Disneyland Paris. And if you love anything to do with Disney, you're going to love this episode. So please join me in welcoming Liz. How are you doing?
Hello. Hi, everybody. I'm great, thank you.
I absolutely love all of your content. I was saying before, we've been chatting for a while, and it's one of those weird
Yeah,
things that now we get to chat like face to face, even though it's on Zoom.
yeah.
It
So
feels strange because I'm like, I've known you ages.
we will meet in person one of these days, I'm sure.
Yes, exactly that. And I thought today it would be a fantastic topic to talk all about kind of the seasons and events at Disneyland Paris because I love that throughout the year there's always something going on. And I think
There
it
is.
can also really help you decide when's best to visit.
Okay. So is that what you want to know what I think about the different seasons and
Well,
what's the best
yes.
time
So,
to visit?
like, that's the thing, because you're someone that gets to go a lot, and it's
True.
fantastic, kind of, because you go so frequently, you would have experienced a lot of the different things that happen at Disneyland Paris. So, is there
I
any
have.
either season or event that you're like, this is something I love to go to?
Okay, so this changes
Yeah.
quite a lot, but I was thinking about it, and my favorite time to go is definitely between spring and autumn. So
Yes.
between May and September, I would say. And that
Yes.
comes down a lot to the weather,
Yep.
and they usually lay on some sort of special season for the summer. I
Yes.
can't top um season of Lion King and Jungle Book that we had before
Yes.
COVID,
Yep.
Jungle Book Dive and all that. And I can't tell people to go to that because they don't have it anymore.
Yes.
Um, but we have had other summer seasons. Um, they usually put on something special for the summer, you know.
Yep.
We've had pirates and princesses, you
Yep.
know. We've had the special thing lately for the 100 years of Disney, a million
Yes.
splashes of color. And I would say that the weather has a lot to do with it at Disneyland Paris.
Yep.
And if you want it to feel like a holiday, you don't necessarily want to be freezing
Yes.
cold
That's so
and
true.
everything gets dark and closes down at 5 and 6 o'clock. And
Yes.
you have to wear a great big, if I have to wear a great big coat and scarf and
Yes.
it's raining, then my ears are going to be put away. And I have to wear my ears because I feel
Exactly
naked without
that.
my ears. If
That's
the
such a
weather's
good point.
decent, I can keep my ears on and I feel
Yes.
like not right without my ears.
A
So
hundred
definitely,
percent.
I would say if I was going to book a first trip, I
Yep.
would book it between May and probably the end of September. And I know that's not a season like
Yes.
Christmas season or Halloween season, but I think weather-wise, if you can just put on a pair of shorts and a t-shirt and get out for the
Yes.
day with a hoodie in your bag, and a
Yep.
rain poncho just in case, it's so much easier than
Yes. It's so
worrying about
true.
being freezing cold and
Yes.
just feels a bit more holiday-ish and a bit more pleasant, I think.
Yes. And also you can plan your outfits because like I'm going in
Yeah,
January and I'm going with my best friend and we went together 11 years ago, but she hasn't been since. And she's
yeah,
been so excited about going and she's been buying
yeah.
lots of t-shirts and stuff. And I'm like, we're never going to see them though. That's the sad
No,
thing because we have to wear so many layers in
so many
January.
layers.
Yes, it's
One
so
thing I would
true.
say about that is, yeah, I took matching t-shirts and ears for my last trip and I couldn't wear them. But
Yes.
one good thing is sometimes if you can meet a character indoors, like a hotel character meet,
Yep.
or maybe go to meet Mickey in Fantasyland, you can take off all your layers and your coat and your
Yes.
jumpers and your scarves and get a picture
That
in
is
your
such a good
matching
point.
t-shirt and ears,
That's the
if that
way to
means
do
something to
it.
you.
Yes,
But
exactly.
outside, you're gonna freeze to death a little bit.
Yes. And I do love, like, I think it's such a good point that you've mentioned that in the summer they tend to do have some sort of event
Yeah,
happening.
they do.
And I think that's so fun because, like you say, it kind of changes almost every year. I've heard rumors that next year it's going to be a music themed event.
This is what I've heard, and this rumor
Yes.
seems pretty realistic.
Yes.
There's nothing on official inside ears, nothing official has been said.
Yep.
But what's been broken from the Discord chat
Yes.
seems pretty. I mean, there's even a visual to go with it.
Yes.
There's going to be some sort of big music festival in the summer.
Which is
I
going to
would
be
put money on
amazing.
that going to happen. They're going to have
Yes.
something.
And I think that's the thing, isn't it? Because I think a lot of people think I'm going to go to Disneyland Paris and I've got the rides, I've got the characters and stuff like
Yeah,
that. But these like events just add a little bit extra because there's like different shows, or like you say, brand
yeah,
new parades. And we
yeah,
know like A Million Splashes of Colour has ended, and now
yeah,
we've gone to the Christmas parade. But it's like next year, will there be a new parade? Will A Million Splashes of Colour come back? So it's always
yeah.
exciting that you never quite know what's going to happen, but there's always the chance of something new.
And hopefully, you're not going to be freezing cold. Now,
Yes,
weirdly, when I was thinking about what my favorite season is, I
yes,
would say Christmas season, which goes against
yes.
everything I just said.
But I
But
totally
I
agree.
love Christmas season in Disneyland Paris.
It's
I
stunning.
do think it used to be a little bit better before COVID when they
Yes.
had the Christmas tree lighting up ceremony. They
Yes.
sort of have something like that now with the Christmas parade,
Yep.
where if you stand up in Central Plaza and you're looking at the castle,
Yep.
at some point during the nighttime parade, the lit up parade, they light up the castle and they make it look like a Christmas tree, but it's not quite the same as when they used to have Santa and Mickey and Minnie and carol singers, and they used to light up the big Christmas tree
Yep.
in Town Square.
Stunning.
And I
Amazing.
remember standing there waiting for it, so cold that I had, like stuff dribbling from my nose
Yes.
and, my teeth chattering and everything.
Yes.
But I was like, no, I'm going to stand out here and watch this because it's so beautiful.
Exactly. It's the
And
dedication.
I think because of that, because of loving Christmas season at Disneyland Paris,
Yep.
because let's face it, they have musical sing-alongs. We used to have Mickey's Big Band in the studios,
Yes.
but we still have the Videopolis Sing Along a Christmas thing, which is amazing.
Yep.
And the characters in special costumes, everything's
So cute.
decorated beautifully. They make
Yes.
it snow on Main Street.
Yes.
It's totally not foam, it's totally snow.
Yes, exactly
And they make it snow every 10 minutes or something. And just Christmas is magical anyway, but nobody does Christmas like Disney. So I developed a
that.
kind of like an ambition to see Christmas at Walt Disney World because I
Yes.
thought, what could be better than Disney Christmas? But it's not cold.
Yes,
And
that's
I finally
true.
did manage that in 2019,
Yes. Was it
November. Luckily,
amazing?
before COVID, I
Yes.
went and did Christmas season at Disney World, and I was blown away. I mean, I thought the gingerbread house we used to have in the Disneyland Hotel was
Yep.
big, and then I see the one in the Grand
Exactly.
Floridian,
Yes.
and there's people walking in and out of it, and it's
It's
a shop, and
crazy.
I'm like, now
It's
that's a
insane,
big
isn't it?
gingerbread house,
It's amazing.
and just their Christmas parade, and
Yep.
just everything. So that's my ideal Christmas
Yep.
season in Walt Disney World, and
Yes.
I've done it once again since last November. So, but yeah,
Amazing.
if we could just change the weather a little bit.
That's the thing, isn't it? Because I totally agree. I'm not really a Christmassy person. I don't really love Christmas.
Yeah,
However, when I go to Disney, I
yeah,
so get into it because it is the most Christmassy place.
exactly.
It's like being in like a Christmas movie. It's amazing.
Definitely, it
And it's so
really is.
joyful. And like you said, the fact that the characters are in their costumes, you've got like a Christmas parade, there's extra events, there's snow, like
Decorations everywhere.
it's just
And in recent
amazing.
years, I think only in the last 2 years, I think they've started decorating the hotels.
Yes.
So if you stay in a Disney hotel, at Christmas or Halloween now, but
Yep.
particularly at Christmas, they go all out decorating the hotel.
So
And they not
nice.
only decorate the hotel, but they decorate the hotel themed to that hotel. So
That's
if you're
great.
staying at Hotel Cheyenne, the tree's going to be decorated in like cowboy hats and
It's so
cowboy
good.
boots and things
It's
like
so
that.
good.
And if you're staying at Newport Bay, it's going to be like nautical things and just incredible. Staying at a hotel during Christmas season, but you don't have to. You can just visit the hotel during
Yes, that's
Christmas
so
season.
so true.
You
And
just
it's
have a
worth
little
one, isn't
visit.
it? Because like
Yeah.
you say, to get to see the different theming, it's not like if you've seen one hotel, you've seen them all.
I
It's definitely worth going to visit them.
And I last Christmas, I noticed, don't know if this has always been there, but I only noticed last Christmas,
Yes.
each hotel had a mailbox where you could post a letter to Santa.
Oh my God, that's
Now I'm
amazing.
getting a bit old for posting a letter to Santa, but I thought I'll give it a go.
Yes.
So I wrote a letter at Hotel Santa Fe. They give you the special note paper. And I wrote my letter to Santa and I posted it in the letterbox, which is in the shop, was in the shop, but every hotel had one. And I didn't really know what was going to happen, don't know what I expected to happen. Well, this was, towards the end of December.
Yep.
And sometime in January, I got a reply from Santa, an actual reply from Santa with a stamp and a postcard and everything,
That's amazing.
um, and posted to my house, replying to my letter.
That's
And that
literally
cost
incredible.
nothing. That cost nothing, money wise.
That's
And
so,
I
so
just thought it was
good.
amazing that they did that. People will say that the hotels in Disneyland Paris, they don't do offers like they used to. You used to be able to get
Yes.
2 nights, buy 2 nights, get 2 nights free. You used to be able to get free meal plan. Don't get any of that anymore, and the prices have exponentially gone up of Disney
Yes.
hotels. But on the other hand, they are giving you more. We've got this amazing specific theming. We've got themed magic passes. We've got
Yes.
themed toiletries, themed everything in the room. The hotels have their own branding.
Yep.
And like I say, they thoroughly decorate for Halloween and Christmas, but especially Christmas. And
Yes.
even if you're not staying at a Disney hotel, you can go in one and you can look around the shop and you can have a drink in the bar and you can just nose around. You can book a meal in their restaurant and just
Yes.
enjoy it because it's really worth having a look
A
in a
million percent. And I
hotel.
think the hotels, like you said, they're all so close as well. So they're
So
really
close.
easy to get to. And like you said, there's so much on offer. And
Yeah.
you don't have to be staying there. Anyone can dine there, you get drinks. Like it's so worthwhile. And like you say,
Yeah.
like something I love about Disneyland Paris is the hotels, the theming. Because I feel like in Disney
Yeah.
World, they're kind of really reducing the theming. And
They
it's
are
so
a bit.
sad because I want it to be fully Disney. But Disneyland Paris, the theming
Yeah.
is incredible in their hotels.
Especially in the bedrooms at Walt Disney World. The
Yes.
bedrooms have become very genetic, you
Yes.
generic even. You could be
Yeah.
staying at Pop Century or All
Yep.
Stars, and the bedroom is virtually the same.
Yes, a
Um,
hundred percent.
Whereas at Disneyland Paris, we've got these really amazing themed out rooms that are
Yes,
really different, really
yes.
different,
And I
really
always say to
cute.
people, I actually think there's no bad hotels at Disneyland Paris. It just depends on
No,
either the theme you like or the budget, because I
yeah,
think they're all great. None of them are a bad choice.
no, I've never had a bad. I started with Santa Fe and kind of worked my
Yes.
way up.
Yep.
But since the refurbishment, Cheyenne's actually my favorite hotel.
Yes.
I
Cheyenne's one of
love
my favorites. It's so
I love the
good.
cowboy theme. I love the outside areas. I love the Toy Story rooms. And if money was no object, I'd probably say Hotel New York, and I prefer that over even the Disneyland Hotel because
Yes.
I've managed to stay twice since it's been Hotel New York, the Art of Marvel.
Yep.
And it just blows my mind, how
Yes.
modern it is, how
Yep.
unique it is, how amazing it is. And I love the swimming pools. I'm a swimmer, so I like the swimming
Yes.
pools. But yeah,
Stunning.
mostly I'm just happiest at Hotel Cheyenne, I think.
Yes, I totally agree. I think it's so great, and you can't beat the price as well. It's so fantastic.
No.
But the thing, like, I'm obsessed with the curtains being Woody shirt. Like,
Yeah,
those
all
details are
of it.
amazing. It's so,
And
and
I
it's just,
noticed different things.
yeah,
Like I was looking out the window when I last stayed there, which was long time ago, a while ago, last year, I think.
yeah,
And out of my window, I had a view of this water tower. Pretty sure it's a fake water tower, but it says
yeah,
Hotel Cheyenne on it. And I've seen it
amazing.
before from walking around, but I just had that as a view from my window, and I was like, "Wow, I've got a
It's so
view of this water."
nice.
I was just happy with that.
Yeah, exactly that. It's so, so good. And like you say, like, I really like that they have started decorating for Christmas and Halloween because, like, I
Yeah,
probably mentioned Halloween as well because, again, I think it's such a great time of year to
it
visit.
is.
You get the parade, you get everything, and like it's Disney spooky, so it's not like you're gonna go there and be terrified. It just everything's
No,
fun. If you like the Disney villains, you get to see them out and about.
yeah,
I just think like they do it really, really well, and
they
you don't have to
do.
pay extra for these. Both of these you can just see
No,
if you were there. And obviously they did used to have the Halloween party. The past couple of years it's kind of been on
party, yeah,
hiatus, and I think that's the same with a lot of the things like New Year's, Pride. They're having a little rest at the moment, which I would imagine is probably a financial decision.
maybe,
And hopefully they'll come back at some point. But
yeah.
I do like that if you visit in Christmas and Halloween, you don't have to pay extra to experience those things.
That's true. And I just went to Halloween season with my son.
Yes.
We stayed at Sequoia, and he hadn't been in Halloween season. It was his fourth
Amazing.
trip. He hadn't been in
Love it.
Halloween season before, and he really enjoyed it.
Yes.
The only thing I would say is going with him is he's not into meeting the characters.
Right.
So I would have been hanging around the castle courtyard trying to meet all the villains, and I didn't
Yes.
get to do that
Yes.
because while I was with him, I wanted to do the things he wanted to do.
Yes, that makes
And
sense.
I've done it before, so
Yes.
not a big
Yes, no,
deal.
it's so true.
But yeah, we really enjoyed Halloween season. The cavalcade, the Halloween cavalcade. They were missing a show this year, though. We didn't have a show. Normally, there's some type of a show. We
Yes.
didn't have that, but just the decorations. He really likes Mexico because he went to Mexico once, so he liked the frontier land.
Yes.
Um,
I always think that's the best at
Decorations,
Halloween.
the
It looks
cocoa theming.
incredible. It's so
Yeah,
good. It fits perfectly, doesn't it?
yes, perfectly. So we really, yeah. I mean, I have the gold Disneyland pass, the expensive annual pass. Wouldn't didn't used to be expensive, I would say, but it is now.
Yes.
Near enough €700 for the year. But
Yes.
I
Yeah.
probably go 10 times a year. So
Perfect.
to me, it's worth it still.
Yeah.
Maybe not for everyone, but to me, it's
Yes.
worth it. And
Yes.
so I don't miss a season, so I'm lucky.
That's the thing, and I
But
think that's why you're the perfect guest for this topic because you would have experienced everything and so much
yeah,
of it. Because, like you say, if you're not going in one of the famous seasons like Christmas or Halloween, they're going to have an
yeah,
event going on over the summer, which is going to
yeah.
be really, really fun. And then they also do have stuff like Princess Week or Pride.
Princess
They
Week.
do have things that pop up, so it's always
Yes.
worth checking like the schedule when you're booking.
Now, I have accidentally attended Princess Week twice,
I love that.
this year and last year. Now, I didn't used to be a fan of the Disney princesses at all. I'm
Yep,
still not the biggest fan, but they've won me over a bit. I got a bit won over in season of Pirates and Princesses because I was
amazing.
Team Pirates all the way.
Yes.
And there's a slightly funny story about me. I was dressed as a pirate for the season and I had a patch. So I was walking around wearing my pirate patch with my hook and my ears and everything.
Yep.
And then at some point, I took the patch off and fell over because nobody told me that if you wear an eye patch and then you take it off, you can't see properly because you've
Oh
learned to
no.
see out of one eye. So,
That's amazing.
I couldn't walk straight when I took this patch off.
I love it. You looked like a proper drunken pirate.
Yeah, definitely. So I then had to wear it kind of above my eye. But I think I kind of started to respect the princesses a little bit in that season because I always thought they were a little bit embarrassing, all apart from Mulan. I like Mulan because she's
Yes,
badass martial
so
artist,
true.
which I'm also a bit myself because I have a black
Yes,
belt actually
that's
in
incredible.
kickboxing.
Oh,
So
that's
I'll
amazing.
respect Mulan to the utmost.
Yes.
And I respect Tiana because she's very hardworking and self-made and everything else.
Yeah, no, I
Uh,
agree. I do like that the princesses are moving in this direction now because it just feels
Definitely.
so much more positive and like such better role models.
But Princess Week, I mean, unless you're the biggest princess fan on the planet, I would say no need to book for Princess Week, or you've
Right.
got a child that's the biggest princess fan on the planet.
Yes.
Um, but I happen to like going in the summer, and this August and last August, I booked the trip long before I knew it was going to be Princess Week.
Yep.
But I actually ended up really enjoying it.
Oh,
Like there was a special princess show on Central Plaza this year during Princess Week. I really enjoyed that show. All the princesses walked out of the castle and onto the stages and did this dancing, and it was really nice. And obviously, there's things like princess themed snacks, and
yes.
the princesses were out more to meet. So that's a cute one as well. But I think you have to be dedicated to princesses to
Yes.
book a trip just for that, I would
That
say.
makes sense. Yeah, it's one of those nice things, like you say, if you happen to be there, it's like a nice bonus. And
Yeah,
sometimes, like the events do get released quite close to when they, well, what I would consider close, because I normally book trips like a year in
yes.
advance. So
I
sometimes
do. I
the,
like to book
yes,
early because the
yes,
fare's cheaper. I
that's the
go on
thing, isn't it?
Eurostar, it's cheapest the earlier you book it. So I'm booking
Exactly that.
early.
Yeah, 100%. And that's the thing, because I normally fly, so the flights come out like 11 months in advance. So I'm like,
Yeah,
okay, well, we'll book that. And
yeah,
like sometimes you just happen to be there and you're like, oh,
yeah,
brilliant, this is going to be happening whilst I'm there. And like, I
yeah.
think it's so good because I know they've done Star Wars events, Marvel events, so they
Oh,
incorporate
season of the
everything.
Force. Now
Yes.
I'm excited for Star Wars. I actually have a Star Wars birthday, May the 4th.
That's
So
incredible.
I'm into Star Wars anyway. And I went to the first season of The Force with my son Chris, which was in Walt Disney Studios, and it was amazing. It had this big, big show
Yes.
on a stage and just stormtroopers walking around and the parade. And they still have some of that on May the 4th. So
Yes.
on May the 4th, they have some of it still in Discoveryland. So I'm planning to be there for the next May the 4th because it's
So
kind of like
good.
my birthday. It's May the 4th. I like going
Exactly.
for that time. So they don't have Season of the Force anymore, but they still have Star Wars stuff.
Yes.
But the actual parade of the stormtroopers, where they're inspected by Phasma and everything, they still
Yes.
seem to do that on May the 4th. So that's a good thing.
Such a cool spectacle. It's so
Yeah,
cool. But yeah, I just think Disneyland Paris do this stuff really, really, really well. And something that we should talk about because I know that you loved this, and I'm so sad because basically I had planned to do this, and then the pandemic happened, and it's put the
yeah,
kibosh on it, which is the Run Disney events. And Disneyland
yeah,
Paris used to hold this, and it
yeah.
looked amazing. So I'd love to hear your experiences with it.
Okay, so with Run Disney, they've been having Run Disney weekends in America for years and years and years, but I was oblivious to it, didn't know anything about it at all.
Yep.
And then I went through my running era. I was in my running era. I started to run like 5Ks, 10Ks, couple
Amazing.
of half marathons. Then I got into mud runs, obstacle runs, that sort of thing.
Wow.
And my friend was running London Marathon, and we went up to the expo, and she said, "There's a Disney stall. It says London Marathon Expo." And I said, "A Disney stall?" She said, "Yeah, with Disney medals, I'm sure." So we went to look at it, and there was a Run Disney stall at London Marathon. And we said,
God.
"Why are you here? Why are you in London?" And they said, "Because we're trying to see if there's enough interest for races at Paris." And
Oh
we
my
were like, "Oh,
gosh.
yes, yes, come to Paris. Please come to Paris. I'm sure everyone would love it."
Yes.
Anyway, sure enough, the following year, we were again at London Marathon Expo. I wasn't running it, I was just at the expo.
Yes.
And they, by then, had announced they were coming to Disneyland Paris in September 2016. Now, I'm
Amazing.
very old and I was 50 in 2016. So I
That is
thought, what can be
wild.
better? I'm going to book a trip. I'm going to be 50. I'm going to run the first ever Run Disney weekend at Disneyland Paris. That time it was a 5K and a half marathon the first year.
Yes.
And my friend Susan, who was also into running, she was into Disney and running. We were like, this is made for us. It's Disney,
Yes.
it's running. We didn't have a clue what it was going to be like.
Yeah.
We just thought we were going to be running through the parks, and that was exciting enough.
Yes.
So, of course, we booked it. We booked Hotel Santa Fe. We were so excited, but I didn't have a clue what to expect. I didn't even know there was going to be characters on the course.
It's so
So, can
cool.
imagine how my mind was blown.
I think
Mind
it's so
blown.
cool that you got to do the first one. Because like you say, you're
The
going in
first
completely
one.
blind. And what an amazing
Yeah.
thing to say.
And we were worried about our time because we heard about these balloon ladies. On the half marathon, you have to be able to do a 17-minute mile, I think it is, which is pretty slow. You can fast walk a 17-minute mile. But if you're going to stop and meet characters and they have a bit of a queue, you need to make
Right.
sure you're going fast enough to
That
stop
makes
and meet the
sense.
characters. So, but it is not like a normal character meet. It's like run in, have a picture, run out,
That's great. Because that's the
but
thing.
still
Because
good.
it's like a race, but also fun. But I can
Yeah,
imagine because you are still racing, you are like, I don't want to spend too much time. So I love that it's
yeah.
like dash in, dash out. That's great.
We made very simple costumes. My costumes got more elaborate. The Americans that came over for Run Disney Paris really showed us how to do the costumes because they're all about their race costumes.
Yes.
So my costumes got better as the years went on, but I just did like a basic mini ears and mini skirt, I think, for the
Yes.
first half marathon. And so this first half marathon, we're running down Main Street, USA. There's cast members lining Main Street as the sun came up, cheering us, clapping us, holding up signs saying "Allez, allez, courage, courage,"
Oh my
and
God.
clapping and cheering us. We felt like Olympic athletes running down Main Street as the sun came up over the castle, through the castle, and then they have
Oh,
photopass photographers set up, about six of them in front of the castle, so you can get your kind of jumping castle shot in the middle of the race. Fantastic. And I was just, that's when I fell in love with Disneyland Paris, I would say,
yes.
2016, the half marathon. also, mind blown, we got to run backstage. So in every race I've done, they opened up backstage areas for us to run behind. Now, backstage is a little bit tacky and dirty and not as
Yeah.
nice as the front of the stage,
Yes,
but it's amazing to see some backstage. And they
exactly.
had old props there, like maybe an old Doom buggy, you know,
Oh my
the
God.
old Buffalo Bill statue that used to be
So
out the front
fun
of
to
Buffalo
see.
Bills, just props lying around. And we stop and have a picture with that prop and be like, oh, yeah,
Yes.
we're backstage and seeing some buildings and things we would never normally see.
That's
But
the really cool thing, isn't it? That it's not
it's
just
totally,
that you're doing a cool event, it's that you're getting
yes,
exclusive access to backstage that you would
exclusive
never
access
get.
to backstage. Um, and also the races are start at 7 in the morning and they finish before the parks open. So you get to run through the parks when they're empty. Now that's amazing as well.
Yes,
And
yeah,
but they
you
have
never have
rides
that.
running. It's not too spooky. So like the teacups
Mm.
would be spinning and the lights are on and the music's playing, and the carousel would be spinning and the lights are up and the music's playing. But nobody's riding them and you're not allowed to ride them.
Yes.
But it's just like the park isn't dead. The park's
Yes,
alive.
exactly. That's
You know,
so nice, isn't it? And the fact, like you say, that the
incredible.
cast members are stood cheering you on, like, what it
Yeah.
sounds incredible. Just hearing it, it sounds
And you
so
get medals.
incredible.
You
Yeah,
get Disney
amazing.
medals. And the
It's
medals are
so
amazing.
cool.
I actually ran every race every year and did every challenge. So I have every medal. They give you a medal
It's
for every
incredible.
race, a medal for every challenge,
Yeah.
and then you've got a t-shirt for every race and a t-shirt for every challenge. So I've got
Oh my
all of
God.
them. And then in 2016, in 2020 was supposed to be the fifth one, and they were going to have something special for the fifth year.
Yes.
And um, they announced an extra event. So we were going to have not only Run Disney Paris weekend, but we were going to have Princess Run weekend as well, which I think was going to be
Interesting.
in the April. And
Yes.
that was just going to have a 5K and a 10K and a challenge if you did both of them. And I think that was going to be aimed more at sort of starter people, people trying it
Yes.
out, wanted to give it a go, but they weren't sure about doing a half marathon.
Yes.
So obviously, I was signed up for that. I was going. I
Yes.
was going to do the Princess Run weekend and the normal one in September, the half marathon weekend. Uh, and right up until April, um, I actually met with the Run Disney team quite a lot. I have a group that's called Run Disney Paris fans, and the group is exclusively about Run Disney Paris. That's all it's about.
Yes.
And because of that, I developed a relationship with the team, the office.
Yes.
Anyway, I met with the office in March 2020. A couple of people from the office, they
Wow.
came out to meet me in the park. And I said to them, they said, you got any questions? I said, yeah. What's going to happen with our medals? Because our medals are made at a factory in China and they've got coronavirus. They said, what? They've got what?
Oh my
And I
God.
said, they've got coronavirus in China and their factories are all closed down. And they went, that won't affect the medals. We've got a really
Wow.
good relationship with them and, we're their best clients. And don't worry, we're still going to get the medals. And I was said, do you think it'll affect our race weekend? This is March 2020.
That's
And they went,
wild, isn't
no.
it?
She went, no. The head of the whole of Run Disney, she says to me, no. Um,
Wow.
unless our government, says it's not safe to run the races, famous last
Yeah,
words, you know,
exactly.
we're going to have the races. I don't see how some virus in China is going to affect anything. So I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I went back and reported to my group, no, our medals will be fine. They can still make them in China. Virus isn't affecting anything, We can still
Yes.
have our run weekend in May. I think it was April or May, and the other one in September. Then boom, coronavirus.
And it's such a shame, isn't it? Because
Cancelled everything, and we've never got it
exactly.
back.
And that's the
Never
sad
got
thing,
it
isn't it?
back.
Because in the US, they did delay it for a while and they
Yeah,
have brought them back. So I really hope that Disneyland Paris will eventually be able
me
to bring
too.
it back because they sound so good. And like you say, it is nice that they do have like the 5K events. So if you haven't done a race before, or maybe you're
Yeah,
new to running, you can still get involved. And everything I've seen and
yeah.
heard about it, it just looks so much fun. Like you
You
don't have to be a big runner.
You
You're
don't have to be a
full
professional
time.
runner.
Yes.
Anyone can do the 5K. You could just walk the 5K. The
Yes.
5K was never timed. The 10K was never timed.
Yes.
Obviously, you have to be out of the park by a certain time because they want to open the park. So they're
Yes.
going to be kicking you out. But they were not timed. Only the half marathon was timed, and that's understandable because we used to
Yeah.
run out to Val d'Europe and they had to shut off the roads,
Right, that makes
and then
sense.
we had to run through both parks, and they had to have us out of them by the time they wanted to open the parks.
Yes.
The finish line was in Walt Disney Studios. Um, but the 5K and 10K weren't timed. So if you just wanted to do it and just walk and do a bit of fast walking, you could. And there's no real other race you could enter like that.
Yes. And that's the thing that is such a unique thing, not just for like physical activity, but a unique way to visit Disney. And I just think it looks
Definitely.
so great. And like you say, you get to go backstage, you
So
get to meet
great.
characters, and sometimes like it's rare characters and
Yeah.
really go all out.
And the characters have special Run Disney tracksuits.
Oh my
They
God,
do bring them out for other events now, but they have these blue and white Run Disney outfits.
that's amazing.
And I'd actually replicated one for 2020. I was going to wear it,
That would have
but
been
never
amazing.
got to wear it. Um,
That's
but
such
they
a
sometimes
shame.
bring out the characters in those outfits for things like I've seen Goofy and Max wearing them to DJ at New Year's and things like that.
That's
But they
really
had Run
cool.
Disney outfits you could only see at Run Disney, and just, but in the end, the best thing about Run Disney was the friendships that I made across all different countries.
Yes.
I made friends from Holland. I made friends from Paris. I made so many friends from America because, of course, why wouldn't the Americans love a trip to Paris to run
Exactly.
races at Disneyland Paris, to have a look at the Eiffel Tower,
Incredible. What a
and
trip.
they all needed to use my group to find out how Disneyland Paris works. So they would ask questions like, I don't understand it. There's no shuttle bus from the hotel to the start line.
Yeah.
And I would say, that's because you can walk, love.
Yeah, exactly.
Because
It's
it's like a
so
10-minute walk from the
exactly.
hotel to the start line, which they
It's
had no concept
yeah.
of
That's the thing. If
because
you've never been, you'd have no
everything's
idea, would
so
you?
far in Disney
Yes.
World.
That's the thing, isn't it? It's so spaced out. And I think it's funny because it works the other way. Like a lot of people that go to Disneyland Paris, if they're
Yeah.
planning the first Disney World trip, they're like, "Oh, can I walk from like Animal Kingdom to Magic Kingdom?" It's like there's no way on earth.
No, there's not even a pavement,
No,
even if you wanted
you
to.
physically can't. It's so
No.
true. And I think that's the thing, isn't it? Like something that's amazing about Disney is also the community it creates. And I think that's the
Yes.
thing. If you just casually go to Disney, you have an amazing time. But once you
Yeah.
become addicted, which is most people, and then you start
I'm
looking for
addicted.
Facebook groups and like YouTube channels and stuff, you then get this big community of people. And then, like you say, you make friendships from people with all over the world. That's been like the best thing, I
Yes, the
think.
best thing. I mean, I have made some of my best friends that I have at this phase of my life through Disneyland Paris. I have made friends with cast members because they recognize me from going so often.
Yes.
I have made friends with other annual pass holders because they've seen me on social media, and then they've contacted me and I've met up with them, and
Yes.
I've ended up finding so many good roommates. We can share a room, split the cost, or just meet and hang out in the parks. I do like my solo trips.
Yes.
I do like to please myself sometimes and not worry about anybody else.
Yes.
But at the same time, I also love being with other people. And I think
Yes.
the best type of friends I've made, annual pass holders, are the ones who like to share a room with you and spend time with you, but are not offended if you each go off and do your own thing a little bit as
That's the
well.
thing, because like you say, it's the best of both worlds, isn't it?
Yeah,
Because then you can do things
definitely.
together and make memories, but when you want to have that solo time, it's perfect. Because
Yeah,
I'm the same. I love a solo trip, and when I
yeah,
started doing a lot of stuff about solo trips, what I quickly realised is a lot of people that go to Disney, it's their first maybe solo trip, and they're going because they love Disney, but they haven't got people to go with, and
yes.
they're nervous to do it, but then they're like, I don't want to miss out. And I always think it's
Mm.
the best place to do solo trips because I love solo. I've been solo traveling since I was 18 around the world.
Hmm.
But I think if you've never done a solo
Same.
trip, Disney's the best place because it's just so joyful. There's so much to see and do. You're never lonely, and it's so
Never.
friendly and welcoming, and people you get to speak to all the time.
Yeah.
And it's
You can
perfect for
chat
solo
to
travel.
somebody in a queue.
Yep.
You can chat to a cast member while you're waiting for a parade. You can chat to other guests in the queue.
Yes.
Um, but I think, yeah, the real friends I've made tend to be other annual pass holders. But an
Yes.
unexpected bonus of Run Disney was that I made so many American friends who have annual passes in Walt Disney World
Yes.
that when I go there now, I meet all these friends that
It's
I know through
lovely.
Run Disney, and they show me around, come and spend time with me. They know the best ways to do the parks there because I'm certainly no expert on Walt Disney World. I'm getting better at it, but I'm not
Yes.
an expert.
Yes.
And it's just those. And then if they come to Disneyland Paris, my friend Tressan, she came to Disneyland Paris for the first time last June. And first of all, I wasn't going to be able to meet her, but then I thought, you know what, I want to. So I just flew over and met her for one night. I did a 24-hour trip to meet her
That's
in
so
Disney World,
nice.
in Disney Paris,
Yeah.
and we spent a night together at Hotel Cheyenne. That sounds worse than it is. We
Yeah.
shared a room at Hotel Cheyenne,
Yes.
and we just had the best time because she's a pass holder
Yes.
at Disney World, and I could show her some things she maybe hadn't seen already,
Yep.
and just her to see that she loved it so much when Walt Disney World is her home park really
Yes.
brought home to me that we do have the most beautiful park.
Yes.
We have
Yes.
the best castle.
Incredible.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry, but I
Stunning.
think Phantom Manor is better than
Yes.
Haunted Mansion.
Yeah.
Our Thunder Mountain, Big Thunder Mountain, is
100%
so much
honest.
better than their Big Thunder Mountain.
So much. I actually think it's the best in the world. It's
It
so
is.
good. It's unreal.
Our Pirates is
Yep.
better.
Totally
Our
agree.
Small World is better.
Yes. Yep.
Um,
Space Mountain.
Many rides they have are better, but we
Yes.
do have things that are better. And our park is so beautiful and so high quality. When you go into their shops, they can be a little bit tacky and not interesting. But our shops have theming. I mean, think about Harrington's. It's
Yes.
got a
Yes.
stained glass domed ceiling in Harrington's,
Beautiful.
and just absolute quality.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah.
so just things like that make our park the most beautiful for sure.
100%. And that's the thing, isn't it? Like, it's such a great place if you're wanting a taste of that Disney magic and you're nervous about, because, going to the US, it's a big cost, it's a big trip. There's a lot of planning involved for Disney World. Like, you almost need a
Definitely.
degree. Going to Disneyland Paris is lovely because it's so simple. You don't really have to have an itinerary. You can go with the
You
flow.
don't.
And
Yeah.
all the hotels are so
And
close.
park hopping.
Yes, so convenient.
Disneyland Paris, you can go from one park to the other park in 10 minutes, back
It's
and
the
forth
best,
all
isn't
day
it?
if you want.
Yes,
Walt Disney World, you got to exit the park, you got to get a boat or a bus or a something to the other park, a monorail.
yes.
Then you got to go through security again, you
Yep.
know. Then you got to walk 2 miles to the attraction you want to see. I
Yes,
mean, I
it's
think you're
true.
looking at least an hour to actually get from one park to the other at Walt
Yes, no,
Disney
that's
World.
such a good point. And I remember once I was at Disneyland because I tend to go in the off season for Disneyland Paris, so it's
Yeah.
the cold months.
Yeah.
I was
Well, it's
because
cheaper.
that's the thing, and like doing solo trips is much more affordable. It's
Yeah.
a lot quieter. But what
Yeah.
was nice is the Studios Park tended in the winter to shut maybe 2 hours before the main
Yeah.
park,
Yeah.
so I would be able to go and see the nighttime show there, and then walk into
Yeah.
Disneyland Park and see their nighttime show. So you see them both in one night, which is
Yes.
amazing.
Yeah.
It's just
And
so
there's a
good.
new, I don't know that it's a nighttime show, but there is a new Marvel show coming to Walt Disney
I'm so
Studios.
excited for this.
Haven't really done my homework to know whether
Yes,
it's a nighttime show or not, but there's
yes, I
definitely a
think
new
it
show.
is. And I think it's all like Doctor Strange themed and it's got the
Yeah,
drones. It looks so cool.
I'm
And
excited
I
for that.
love that Disneyland Paris are really like the pioneers when it comes to like the shows and especially using
Their
drone
shows are the
technology.
best.
So good.
I went to see Lion King show in Animal Kingdom on my last trip last November,
Yes.
and it seemed so babyish and so dated and
Yes.
so embarrassing
Yes.
compared to our Lion King show that we have in Frontierland now, which is my favourite show at Disneyland
Yes.
Paris, is
Yes.
Lion King Rhythm of the Pride Lands. And ours is like Cirque du Soleil.
Yes,
It's like
100%. It's like
the
a
whole
mixture, isn't it, of like the West
stage
End
is
show.
unique. It's an African drum kit.
Yeah.
It's like, just unbelievable quality. And
Yes.
they wrote the score for it. It's got its own score. It's
Yeah.
got its own live musicians. And to me, it was like Walt Disney World. Okay, their shows are iconic. They have Beauty and the Beast. It's iconic.
Yes.
But Mickey and the Magician, has won awards worldwide.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
fantastic.
Yes, I totally agree. I think the shows at Disneyland Paris are such a standout. And like you say, stuff like Mickey and the Magician or Together, where they're completely unique storylines, completely
Completely.
new, and like something like Together, the use of technology as well. And I kind
That's
of like
amazing.
that show. You can't record in it, so whenever you go,
No,
is a surprise.
that's true.
It's mind blowing because you're just like,
Yeah.
wow, I was not expecting this. It's so, or even stuff like, and I really hope they bring it back. I am obsessed with Disney Junior Dream Factory.
Disney Junior Dream. I've got some pom-poms from Disney Junior Dream Factory. I don't know if you have, but they used to shoot out these pom-poms,
I
and
love
that was
that.
supposed to remind you to have a dream and to wish your dreams come true.
I
They
love it.
stopped doing them, but I've still got some pom-poms.
What I
Love
loved
it.
is every time I went, they'd have different effects. So you
Yeah.
never knew what was going to come towards you, which is
Mm.
always exciting. You're like, what's going to be at this time?
And
But
there's no way that show was just for kids. It
no,
was for
that's the
kids and
thing.
adults.
100%.
Disney
'Cause
Junior Dream Factory.
the first time I saw it, I was there and it was like January, it was -5. I was freezing. And
Yeah.
it's like, that's the earliest show that opens today. I'll go in. And because
Yeah.
it's Disney Junior and I don't have kids, I was like, oh, I don't know. I'm going to really stand out. I
Yeah.
was obsessed. Because, like you say,
Yeah.
the whole storyline of it being about following your dreams really resonates with adults as well. The songs are
Definitely.
amazing. Like, I'm
The
obsessed with Vampirina
characters,
now.
the characters. Like my absolute favorite song in Disney Junior Dream Factory was Fancy Nancy. Never watched an episode of Fancy
Yes.
Nancy in my life. My kids grew up long after Fancy Nancy was a thing.
Yes.
And she has this song that goes, Follow your dreams wherever you
Yes.
are, something like that.
It's so
And
cute.
so adorable. And her other one about J'adore Paris and the Eiffel Tower
Yes.
comes down and everything.
So good.
And I don't really have a clue who Fancy Nancy is, but that was my favourite bit of the show.
So good.
Just
Yes.
amazing.
And that's what I
Loved
always
it.
say to people. I'm like, when you go to Disneyland Paris, the natural inclination is like, do all the rides and the characters, but I'm like, don't skip the shows. Like, at least try and see a few because they are so good.
It
And
was funny actually. I went to Walt Disney World and I
yeah,
met Fancy Nancy because they
I
have
love
some of the
that.
characters hanging around
Yeah.
outside their Disney Junior show, which is more like a disco, their Disney
Yes.
Junior show. And so I said to my friend, "Oh, I want to meet Fancy Nancy." So got in this very small queue to meet Fancy Nancy. And I said, "I love you at Paris, your song J'adore Paris." She didn't have a clue what I was talking about.
That's so
It was
funny.
basically obvious that she didn't have a clue about Disney Junior Dream
That's so
Factory at Disneyland
funny.
Paris, but I was raving about it. She had to pretend she knew,
She's like,
and
love this.
and I was like, "Yeah, I want a picture with you," and all that sort of thing.
That's so funny.
But I was excited to meet her just because of Disney Junior Dream Factory.
Exactly. That's the thing. Like the same. And like, I'm with Vampirina. I was just like, she's
Yeah,
so cool. She's a rock star. That's a vampire.
gonna be a rock star.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's so good. Well, I think that's a good segue into the Disneyland Paris also have these like one-off events. So like
one of
New
them.
Year or
Yeah,
Pride. So they like have these party
oh,
nights,
yeah,
which I think is another great thing. And like again, they have temporarily stopped, and I think they will come
yes,
back eventually. But it's just so fun that you can go to Disney, and it's
yes.
like these events are fun in general, but Disney is like next level. Everything.
Yes, now, yeah, I have been to a lot of them. I've been to New Year when it used to be ticketed.
Yes.
I never went to the actual Halloween party,
Yeah.
but my sister is gay and had always wanted, she's not a big as Disney fan as me, but she'd
Yeah.
always wanted to go to the Pride party at
Yes.
Disneyland Paris as soon as she knew about it.
Yes.
Now, last year, in 20, whatever it was,
Yes. Yeah.
she was 60. She was going to be 60.
Amazing.
And I said to her, because I'm a very nice sister, better than she deserves, I can tell you. I said to her, I'm going to take you to Disneyland Paris for your 60th birthday
What a
and
trip.
for Pride weekend.
Oh,
So I
how
got us
amazing.
the best tickets for the Pride party, which means you can get in early and you don't queue to get in, and Newport Bay for 3 nights. And
Amazing.
we went to this Pride party. Now, I would consider myself an ally. I'm all for
Yes.
Pride. She's a massive campaigner for sort of
Yes.
equal rights,
Yes.
LGBTQ rights. And this whole Pride event was incredible. Now,
Yes.
because we had the tickets where we could get in the party before everybody else, we were just hanging around in Studio One,
Yep.
the indoor building, which is now closed. And she wanted to get some beer. So we were
Yes.
just in Onkulis. Someone told us we could get beer in Onkulis. So we were in on Cooley's getting her a beer, and we saw all these men arriving and starting unrolling a carpet, and it was a rainbow carpet,
I love that.
a rainbow carpet in Studio One just for this party. Literally just putting this
Amazing.
carpet down for this party. So immediately I start filming because I'm not going to miss that on my vlog and I want to
Yes.
report it to my Facebook group as well. So I start taking pictures and filming, and the security man throws me out and he's like, "Stop filming, stop taking pictures. It's not open yet." Me being very obedient,
Yeah.
stop filming. Not my sister, she doesn't care.
Love that.
Um, so she starts lying on the carpet. Take a picture of me, Liz. Take a picture of me, and all this. And she's like, "We're allowed in here. We're allowed in here. The thing's open, everything like this." So anyway,
I love that.
so anyway, I waited until they'd finished laying this beautiful rainbow carpet throughout Studio One, and the rest of the party guests were still queuing up, waiting to get in the park.
I
So
love
we
this.
then just lay on the carpet, took pictures. I
Brilliant.
think we were the first people. I was the first person to report it on Chat for Brits because no one knew that was going to happen. And then there was this amazing parade, and the characters had their Pride outfits on. And, there was Pride merch. There was a big stage with a DJ. Now, so sad they haven't got that anymore, but I think it's because of the construction going on.
100%. Because that's the thing, it's always held in
Yeah,
Walt Disney Studios Park. And of course, at the moment, there's a lot of construction until probably 2026. So it
yeah.
makes sense why they've had to stop that. But this year, I did see they did like a little parade in the main park, even
Did
though
a
it wasn't a
little
full event.
token effort. I think they did a token
Yes.
effort. And the
Yes.
cast members are allowed to be in the parade, and each group of cast members is a different colour of the rainbow, and they join in the parade. And it's very, very joyful and
Yes.
very amazing. So I would say, you don't have to be a member of the LGBTQ
100%.
community, and it's very family friendly, totally fine for children.
Yes.
I would totally go to that Pride event again. I
Yes.
absolutely loved it. But to see my sister enjoying it was something else because she goes
Yes.
to lots of Pride events and she was so excited. But
Yes.
two funny things about her was she thought everything at Disneyland Paris for those few days was about Pride. So
Yes.
we walk into the park and she sees this sign advertising the Lion King show. And she says, "It's a Pride show. It's a Pride show." I said, "No, it's not.
Love
It's Rhythm
that.
of the Pride Lands."
Love that. That's
She
fantastic.
thought it was a show for Pride. And then
I love that.
and then we came off It's a Small World. And it makes a rainbow quite often. If the sun's shining, there's
Yes.
a little fountain. And she said, "Look, it's a real rainbow for
I love
Pride."
that.
And I was like, "If you say so."
So fantastic. I love that.
She was seeing Pride everywhere,
So
even
good.
where it
She was like, this
wasn't.
is the best birthday ever. It's wonderful.
They even made rainbows.
But like you say, the fact that it's so joyful and uplifting and like such a
Yeah,
sense of bringing people together,
yeah,
it's suitable for everyone to go to and it's so
definitely.
inclusive. It's just such a
Yeah.
great event. And I know people that fly from the US to attend and like people
Wow.
all over the world come specifically
Yeah.
to go to that event. And I just think it's one of the like standout events of the year. So hopefully when everything is finished in 2026, it will be
They'll
back
bring it
because
back. And I would say the Pride Party is worth a special trip. If you
yeah.
can do a special trip or an extra trip, plus it's in June, sunny, warm,
Yes, exactly.
get your t-shirts on.
It's
You know,
perfect, isn't
I
it?
was
It's
in
just
a
the
vest
perfect
top at
combo.
10 o'clock at night and a pair of shorts at the Pride Party.
You're like, this is the
Brilliant.
best.
Yeah.
It's so good, isn't
Um,
it?
that I've only done one, but that was brilliant.
It sounds so, so good. And yeah, I'm like, I can't wait for it to be back. And I think the thing that's interesting as well is if you have the annual pass, they have these four annual passport parties throughout the year.
They
And I
do.
remember I had my annual pass last year and we'd booked to go in September and they announced it like a few months before that they were doing a Halloween event. And I was like, oh my God, this is amazing because the Halloween party wasn't happening.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm gonna get to experience it. And it was
Yeah.
so good. And there were so
You
many
and good.
characters out. And
Yeah.
what I loved is that they were just roaming. So instead of you having to queue to meet them, they would
Yeah.
just past you and interact
Yeah.
with you. There were real pirates inside Pirates of the Caribbean, which was very frightening.
Yeah.
And it
And they
was
usually
so
do
good.
some sort of special show or parade or something for
Yes,
those parties.
exactly. And
That's only for that party.
yes, and I think that's what's really cool, isn't it? That if you're an annual pass holder, each of them would be a themed party, each
Yeah.
one's different, and it's just so cool that you get this like extra benefit and it's so
Extra benefits.
quiet because obviously like it's all annual pass holders, so it's all people that absolutely love it, but the parks are quieter than usual. But I
Yes,
love that because everyone is an annual pass holder, they're like obsessed with Disney. So just
obsessed.
everyone there, you all
Yeah,
feel the same about Disney, which is great.
definitely.
We should talk about because obviously you've got your Run Disney group.
I
You
have
also are involved with the Disneyland Paris Chat for
chat for
Brits.
Brits.
You've got a
Yes.
YouTube channel, so you've got loads going on.
Yes, I checked the numbers actually on Chat for Brits this morning.
Yes.
Okay, so a group that I share with other people, I don't own the group, but I'm probably the most active admin on the group,
Yes.
is Disneyland Paris Chat for Brits.
Yep.
So we, as of this morning, had 56,500 members,
Amazing.
which is pretty amazing. And that group is purely about Disneyland Paris.
Yep.
And the main aim of it is to help you plan your trip to Disneyland Paris.
Yes.
So, a lot of people have never been before and they
Yep.
want to ask a question like, what should I pack? What are your top
Exactly.
tips?
Yep.
And maybe we get the same questions over and over, but we don't care because we were all going on our first trip once
A
and we all
hundred
had those
percent.
questions once. So we're never sick of helping people. And
No.
when the admins go to the park, we take pictures of our food, pictures of our snacks, pictures of the characters, report anything new, put photos on it, do our trip reports. And so that we have some sort of live reporting, if you like, up to date reporting, because
Yeah.
probably one or other of us is on a trip there pretty much all the time.
Which is
So we can
perfect.
get some quite good information. Like, for example, when the Disneyland Hotel reopened as the Royal Disneyland Hotel in January, you could
Yep.
only get inside if you were a guest.
Yes.
Now, I happened to be there in, I forget what it was, it might have been February or so. It hadn't long been open, and I hadn't been inside, and I was dying to get inside.
Yes.
And then somebody put on their social media, I think it was a Dutch social media, anyone can now go in the Disneyland Hotel. Now, it was my last day, and I was in the park, and I thought, really?
Yeah.
Wow, I'm going to go and get in. So I leave the park and I decided to test it. Go up to the Disneyland Hotel,
Yep.
go up to the doors. When I get to where the electric doors open, I see a wall of cast members, and they go, "Yeah," and I go, "Can I look around the hotel? I saw on social media, that anyone can look around," and they went, "No, that's why we're here."
Yeah.
It's not true.
Oh no.
Anyway, I was filming. I was filming.
I love
So
that.
that bit of film I put straight on Chat for Brits of these cast members being like, no. And I was like, that rumor was not true, folks,
Yeah.
because I just tried it. You can't get in the Disneyland Hotel. And I've since then done a vlog of the Disneyland Hotel, showing every single bit of the Disneyland Hotel. And I put that as an outtake at the end because it's actually quite
I
funny.
love
So I'm
that. It's
walking
so
up all
fun.
keen, and they're like, "No, you're not getting
Yeah,
in."
exactly.
Uh,
And I think that's what's great about
Now
the
you
group.
can. Now you
Yes,
can.
a million
Now
percent.
anyone can go inside the Disneyland Hotel.
Yes.
Anyone can go in the shop, the bar, the restaurant, walk around,
Yes.
snoop around, do whatever you want, except probably the swimming pool or, sleep in a
Yep.
bedroom,
Yeah,
you
exactly
know.
that.
But you can do
Exactly.
the other stuff. But then you
Yes.
couldn't. It took a
But no,
while.
but I think that's like you said, what's great about the groups is you're getting kind of the most up-to-date information from people. And it's
Yeah.
also that thing of if you have a question and it's a bit obscure, it's
Yeah.
almost certainly someone else that's experienced it or has
Someone is going to
like
know the answer.
a million percent. And I think that's what's so handy because you've
Yeah.
got like 56,000 people who are can
Yeah.
answer your question, which is
I mean,
amazing.
I usually know the answer to every
Yes.
question by now.
Yeah.
And if I don't know it, I can find out. There's a couple of areas I'm not an expert on. One of the disability access passes.
Yep.
I'm a basic expert, but I've never had one myself. And
Yes.
so I would turn to, we have an admin called Hannah who has a son with autism, and
Yes.
she's pretty much our expert on the priority passes.
Yes.
Um, so between the admins, we'll get you, we'll know.
Yes.
Or I have, friends that run disability groups and I'll ask them things.
Yep.
But equally, when I stayed at Sequoia Lodge most recently and I took photos of the hoist into the pool, the
Yep.
disability lift that will take you into the steps, the disabled changing room, the disabled shower.
Yes.
And then I send these pictures to my friends to stick on their disability groups to
Perfect.
show the disability access.
That's
because I think
amazing.
it's important
Yeah.
that everybody can access everything.
Yes,
But
exactly.
yeah, if we don't know the answer, we'll find out the answer. So I'd say disability access is not my best subject, but I know quite a lot about it. Also, people always ask me about ordering annual passes online and paying for them monthly, but
Yeah.
I've always bought mine outright. So I'm
Yes.
not very good at the backs transfer, paying for it monthly
Yes,
thing,
exactly.
or the buying it online thing where you have to translate the French into English and
Yeah.
send off your documents or whatever. Not very up on that.
Yes. But
But
then, like you
apart from
say,
that, I'm
the
pretty
fact
much a
that
guru, I
yeah,
reckon.
exactly. It's perfect. That's the thing. That's what I think is so handy. And like I know way back when I was first visiting like Disney World, I used a lot of Facebook groups because I
Yeah,
was like, oh,
you should.
because you kind of get used to Disneyland Paris and you're like, oh, how do I book this? And because it's what
Yes.
that thing like when you go as a kid, someone else is arranging it all. But when you start planning your own
Well,
trip,
they
you're like,
weren't
I need
built
to
when I
know
was a
stuff.
kid, so I
Oh,
wasn't going
yes,
as a kid.
yes. So much.
So
I
they
love
weren't
that.
there.
Yes, yes.
They didn't
Yeah,
exist.
like you say, the fact that like people can get the most out of their trips. Because I always think, even if you have a little bit of knowledge, you're so far ahead of most people, so you can really
Definitely.
get the most out of your trip. Which I think that's why it's
That
so.
is why, this is what motivates me to help people
Yeah,
on Chat for Brits, is that the first couple of times I went, I wasted so much money and
yes,
so much time because I
yeah,
was going round and round in circles, not knowing the quickest way from A to B. I
yes,
spent 5 days at Hotel Santa Fe getting the shuttle bus, the stupid crowded shuttle bus, from the front of the hotel to the train station every single time there and back because I didn't know you could walk.
yes, yeah,
So
yeah,
I make sure I let everybody know you can walk along the river,
yeah,
and it's a really nice walk, and it's a much quicker,
yes,
easier way to do it. As long as you've got the energy to walk, and you're not
yes,
too tired,
yes,
you can walk from
exactly.
Santa Fe. You can walk from
Yep.
any of the hotels in
Yes.
Disney.
And that's the thing,
Didn't
isn't it?
know
It's
that.
little tips like that that unless you
Yeah.
actively find out, you're never gonna
Second
know.
time, I stayed at Newport Bay Hotel with my friend. So my friend had a room with her kids. I had a room with my goddaughter, Katie May, who was then 12. We
Yes.
got the shuttle bus from
Yes.
Newport Bay to the park
Yes.
for the first 3 days.
Yes.
Spent so much time waiting for the stupid shuttle bus because they weren't that frequent.
Yep.
And then one day I said, look, you can just walk out the back along the lake.
Yeah.
It's got its own security entrance, and
Yes.
it's literally faster than the bus
Yeah.
staying
It's
at
true.
Newport Bay. So I make sure I tell people now,
A
if
million
you're at
percent.
Newport Bay, it's literally faster to walk than get
Yes.
the shuttle bus.
Exactly. And that's the
Because
thing,
you
isn't
wouldn't
it?
know. How would you know?
100%. Like knowledge is power when it comes to Disney, and that's exactly why I set up most magical guides as well. Because I was like
Yeah,
I was saying at the beginning, like
yeah,
mastering the planning to maximize the magic. Because it is that thing of once you know these things,
yeah,
you save money, you save time, and just your
yeah,
experience is so much better. And yeah, I think it's amazing what you do because like you're helping
oh,
so
thanks.
many people, and
Yeah,
it's just so much tips and advice. So I will make
thanks.
sure that I also have links to everything that
Oh,
you
good.
are involved
Thank
in, so
you.
people can go and find you because
I mean, my Run Disney group, I set
yes,
up with about 5 members. So when they announced Run Disney was coming to Paris, there was no Facebook groups.
yes,
There was American ones about the American events. So I thought, you know what, I'm just going to start one.
yes,
So I started one, and I now have, I don't know, it's at least 6,000
it's
members, might be
amazing, isn't
more.
it?
Um, solely for Run Disney Paris. And even though the events aren't on, everybody's stayed in the group because they're dying to know when they're coming back.
Exactly
So we
that.
just have nostalgia on it at the moment. We say, oh, we
Yes,
missed this and we missed that, and we can't wait for our races to come back.
yes,
Um, but that group just built up a community of Run Disney
yep,
France fans.
yes,
And that's been amazing as well. And also I was able to help people plan their own Disney trips as well
yes,
when it was on.
and I think that's the thing, isn't it? Like no matter what you're into, there will be a niche. So like I've got a vegan food at Disney
Yes,
group. So like if you or like if you
yes, you're
have
vegan.
celiac disease, or maybe you're like a massive
Yes,
Star Wars fan that likes going to like whatever you like, there is going to be people out there
there's
that you
going to
can
be a
connect with.
group. If
Yes.
you're disabled, there's 2 or 3 disabled at
Yep.
Disneyland Paris groups. Tell you how to get your priority access pass,
Yep.
tell you how to use it, tell you what's accessible, what ride you can
Yes.
take your wheelchair on,
Yep.
which there's about one, by the way, not very many.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it?
Just things like there'll be something to help
Yep.
you.
And that's the thing, isn't it? It's like fine reading something on like Disney's website, but having
Yeah.
you go, this is how you do it step by step, or this is my first hand experience is
Yes.
so much better.
Yes, definitely.
Yes, it's been
Yeah,
amazing.
I love that too. And I watch other people's vlogs
Yes,
to learn things as well. Not so much about Disneyland Paris,
yeah,
but when I'm going to Walt Disney World, I
yeah,
start binge watching vlogs of the
yes,
resort I want to go to. I know every inch of that resort before I've got there
yes,
because I've watched
exactly.
65 vlogs of it. And the parks and the rides and the new stuff. And I just mastered how to use the stupid lightning lane, whatever it was,
Yes,
wish thing,
yep,
I don't know what it was, instead of fast passes, and then they abolished it and had something else.
I
I'm not
know.
even gonna bother to learn until next time I go now,
And
because
that's the
they keep
thing.
changing it all the time.
That's the thing, because they went from free fast pass to Genie
Yeah.
Plus. Then Genie
Genie
Plus has
Plus.
now become multi pass. And then
Yes.
within a few months of launching multi pass, they've done multi pass Premier. So, like you say, before your next trip, it might be something else completely different.
Yeah,
There's no
probably
point
will
learning
be.
yet. It's so
But
true.
Paris is simple. Just walk around. If you go in the early
Exactly.
morning, you can get on some rides without a queue. If you go
Yep.
in the late evening, you can get on some rides without a queue.
Yes.
You really don't need the fast pass anyway. And if
Yep.
you do, you can pay for an individual one to skip the
Which is
line.
perfect. Yeah, it's so, so handy. And yeah, it's all of
Yeah.
these little tips that I
Yeah.
absolutely love you for. So it's been amazing to chat to you. Thank you so much. And I'm
You're
hoping
welcome.
whoever's been listening to the podcast, you found out about the special events and the seasons at Disneyland Paris. Maybe it's given you some inspiration of when you would like to visit. And like we said, we're hoping some come back. Like Run Disney, I'm really hoping that comes back.
And
Flying Hope
watch
comes
my
back.
mention my YouTube, which is
Yes.
called Disney Godmother. And the
Yes.
reason it's called
Amazing
Disney
name.
Godmother is because of my goddaughter Katie May. She's my actual goddaughter,
Yes.
and I took her on a trip to Disneyland Paris, so I was her fairy godmother. So I
Oh,
decided to
I
call
love
my
that.
channel Disney Godmother
That's so
after her.
perfect.
And my social media has since become Lisney Godmother because
Which
my
is
sister
iconic.
started calling me Lisney, and because Disney started taking down some sites that had the word Disney in the title.
Yep.
So I changed everything to Lisney Godmother. So you'll pretty much find me everywhere as Lisney Godmother. But my YouTube's Disney Godmother, and that channel started in 2016 to
Yep.
record the first Run Disney events. Now, I do have all the Run Disney events on vlogs
Yep.
on a playlist. The first ones are pretty rubbish because it was just me and my brand new camcorder, and I forgot to film everything because I was having
Yes.
such a great busy time,
I think that's
and they're
all
actually
beginner
pretty
vlog series, isn't
awful.
it?
But they're still iconic because I recorded the
Yes.
first one.
Yep.
And then as more people started watching them, because it was just for me and my friends to watch back,
Yes.
I got better at it, and over time they've got a bit better.
So it's perfect. So yeah, everyone, you need to go check out everything. You can go to the groups because you're gonna get all the tips and advice. Watch the vlogs because then you
Thank
can
you.
see firsthand how to do everything. And yeah, it's been so lovely to chat to you, Liz. So thank you for
Lovely to
joining me
chat to
today.
you.
And until next time, guys, I hope you all have a most magical day.